All right, welcome back. I was whining to Ian Castleberry, Charlie, about my chair here in the control room has been stolen, borrowed. I don't know. I can't find it right now.
Surely it wasn't Ian.
Well, no, of course not. No, for starters, because Ian's just an angel. But secondly, yeah, I don't know what happened to it. So I'm in a temporary chair. I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm such a diva. So during the next break, I'm going to be searching the building, doing a little investigating, asking some key questions, flashing my badge, and I'm gonna bring my chair home where it belongs, here in the control room.
Yeah, whoever's got it's in big trouble.
Oh, they don't know the half of it for sure. It's great to have Ian Castleberry with us, getting ready to talk some NFL Gold Nuggets, presented by David Creasman and DC Creasman Jewelers. Ian, so good to have you on, buddy. Hope you're having a good day.
I am having a good day. You know, true crime podcasts are really big right now. So if this thing with the chair persists, for another week or two, I think we potentially have a podcast, and it will surely something that could become a Netflix show. We probably shouldn't say anything more on the air.
Yeah.
But I see potential here.
By the way, speaking of Netflix, I read this book back when I was in college called The Ultimate Evil. And The Ultimate Evil was about David Berkowitz and the Son of Sam, and how he did not act alone, that this was actually a nationwide cult. It was the occult. That's the theory that Maury Terry put out. I read the book. It led me on a career, like 4 or 5 true crime books in a row, and my dad's like, I'm a little worried about you, man. Said the ex-FBI agent. But anyway, Ian, I know have you seen, it's called The Sons of Sam on Netflix?
I haven't seen that. I'm familiar with the Son of Sam case, and I've read about it too. And I remember that Spike Lee had a movie, Summer of Sam, which I think was more about the cultural impact, especially in New York that summer. But I was not aware of this theory that it was some nationwide movement.
Oh.
And that there were other killings along the way. I'll have to check that out.
Please do. You'll dig it.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, perfect binging, right? No doubt. Gosh, I hope it's not the occult that took my chair. That makes things a little more dicey for me. But Ian, let's get into some dicey topics here. First things first, speaking of an ESPN story that back in 2008, then reality show star Donald Trump, in essence, on behalf of Patriots owner Robert Kraft, asked Pennsylvania Senator Arlen Specter to drop an investigation he started into the Patriots' Spygate issues. And apparently he was not happy with how the NFL handled it. So for some reason, he decided to take it over. But anyway, the future president then said Kraft would make a donation or payment, call it what you want, to Specter's campaign. All right, a bit nefarious for sure, Ian. But what is interesting is how Spygate will never go away, and the NFL wishes it would.
Yeah, the story that will never die. When this story broke yesterday, when Seth Wickersham and Don Van Natta Jr. of ESPN started promoting this story on Twitter yesterday, there was a bunch of eye-rolling and fist-clenching, as if this is the scab that was just picked off and, can't we get over this? Not just because of the Spygate thing, but because of the alleged involvement of our former president in a scandal such as this. I don't think it's that difficult to believe. I mean, it certainly checks out with what I think a lot of us believe about politics, right? Regardless of the NFL, senators, congressmen, people, making connections. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Very often involving payments, whether it's from lobbyists or donations. If they have a pet issue or legislation they want to get passed through, and you help me on this, I'll help you. So it maybe sounds like that's some of what was going on. At the time we didn't know that Donald Trump was going to run and eventually be elected as president, of course. But it also feeds into the notion of Robert Kraft and Donald Trump being pretty tight, and some people have held that against Tom Brady over the years as well. If you read that report, there's actually some funny stuff in there about how Trump really wanted his daughter Ivanka to get together with Tom Brady, and either Brady wasn't interested or Ivanka wasn't, and ended up marrying Jared Kushner, of course. But it's an entertaining story. It's a long story, but unless you just don't want to dive into that territory again, I think it's definitely worth reading at ESPN.com.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blast from the past. Who knew that was going on? Specter, we should point out, the Republican senator from Pennsylvania had no interest in that, and his daughter backed that up just from what she said, what he was telling me. Wow, never a dull moment for sure. All right, let's move on now to Adam Vinatieri, Charlie and Ian, the all-time leading scorer in the NFL, retiring. He's also won a boatload of Super Bowl rings, I think 4 to be exact, 3 with the Patriots, 1 with the Colts. And Ian, impressive numbers, but kickers don't get a whole lot of love from Canton. Does that change with Vinatieri? Do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I think this is the exception. Adam Vinatieri has had the kind of career that should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you can't make the Hall of Fame as a kicker with Adam Vinatieri's numbers and achievements, then it's just not going to happen. I think he is a first ballot Hall of Famer, as you said. NFL's all-time leading scorer, that right there should get him in the Hall of Fame. He also surpassed Morton Anderson in most points, I believe, in fewer games as well. 4 Super Bowl championships, won a Super Bowl, at least one, on his leg alone. I think, unfortunately, people are going to remember the end of Vinatieri's career, where he became quite unreliable, unfortunately. Probably hung on way too long. But I want to hear what Charlie has to say on this, too. I absolutely think he's a Hall of Famer.
What do you say, Coach?
I'm with you, Ian. He was so clutch for so much of his career. I mean, you just think of how Lombardi trophies get shuffled if he misses field goals at the end of games. And like I say, I know kickers sometimes don't get the love that regular players do, but I think this is an exception. He just had the fortune to be placed at the right place, right time, and came through in those opportunities. Now, I think he's first ballot Hall of Fame.
Plus game-winning kicks in the field goals in the Super Bowl. The Rams and the Panthers certainly remember that. So you factor that in as well. He was a big game player, and I guarantee in 10 years, no one's even going to talk or care about the last 2 years or 3 years of Adams' career. Because what is he, like 95 right now when he's retiring? I mean, he's...
And, I was going to say the Panthers might have a Super Bowl championship if he misses that field goal, but I didn't want to do that to DC. I know that would make him cringe.
Well, if he's out running errands right now, you just did. So Castleberry joins the Wise Guys. By the way, presented by David Kreisman and DC Kreisman Jewelers. It is our NFL Gold Nuggets feature. And Ian, speaking of, the Panthers announced a few days ago they will open up to full capacity. Masks will not be required, but feel free to wear one if you still want to go that route. And there's no testing or anything like that. They're not taking your temperature. To quote Kenny Ford, it's wide ASS open at this point. And Ian, it looks like maybe Carolina's not alone in this. Other teams are doing the same.
Yeah, the NFL gave the thumbs up reportedly to all 32 teams. If they want to have full stadium capacity, they can do that. There are 2 teams that aren't quite there yet, the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos. I think that depends on what their local ordinances and officials decide. But it certainly looks like it's going to be full steam ahead. I can't imagine stadiums not being at full capacity. I mean, if you've watched the NBA playoffs this week, especially if you saw what was Madison Square Garden for the Knicks.
Oh yeah.
The past 2 games. I mean, you forget just how amazing it is to have fans that, when they're excited and it's loud. I'm sure we're going to see improved play. Several football players, baseball players, et cetera, talk about how much they missed having fans around, how much they fed off the crowd. It's going to be exciting to see fans back at NFL games. Yeah,
no kidding. And it'll be interesting to see, if we have with everyone moving forward and moving out of COVID, if, hopefully, I'm trusting that the vaccines are strong enough that we're not going to see like another rush, if you will, of COVID cases. I do think we're going to be good. And boy, if you'd asked me, Charlie, a month ago about opening up the stadiums, I know Goodell was just saying, we're opening up in the fall before the CDC said anything. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? But now they all got the all clear. So let's party.
Things were moving fast.
Boy, are they ever. Ian Castleberry joining the Wise Guys. All right, Ian. Let me ask you this about Julio Jones. It looks like interest is picking up for the Falcons wide receiver, but obviously, are they going to be? Is Atlanta getting as much as they should? Despite Julio on that Fox Sports show with Shannon Sharp basically saying, I want out of Atlanta. So it looks like now teams are like, Okay, really? Oh, I don't have to give as much for them. So it looks like Atlanta's been getting some phone calls. What's the latest there, and what do you think it will take to get Julio?
Yeah, the Falcons are certainly concerned about their negotiating position being undercut by Julio Jones. And that's a fascinating story, as you guys were talking about. I mean, there could be even the legality of it, the fact that this took place in California and California law says both parties have to consent for a call to be recorded. But it sounds as if there is interest in Julio Jones. I wonder, though, if the Falcons want a first-round pick, if that's where it starts, one first-round pick, I don't know how many teams are really going to be willing to give that up. And Jones has also said he wants to go to a team that's going to win. So not that he was going to go to a team, for instance, like the Detroit Lions, who could use a number one receiver like Julio Jones, but they're not going to win. The Lions aren't going to give up a first-round pick when they're in midst of a rebuild. But there are some teams who I think fit that bill if they think Julio Jones is somebody who can put them over the top. I'm thinking of the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if he's been mentioned in any of these reports, but can you imagine Julio Jones, Devontae Adams? I mean, that might even bring back Aaron Rodgers from Hawaii if they were to make a signing like that. I've seen the Patriots mentioned. My goodness, if the Baltimore Ravens added Julio Jones, I think that would be a tremendous addition to that. I've seen the 49ers mentioned as well, although I don't know if the 49ers are willing to give up a first-round pick after all of the resources they had to give up to move up in the draft to draft Trey Lance.
Yeah, and here's the deal for Julio. If he wants to play for a winner, well, he's maybe going to have to give in a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe he's going to have to say, you know what, I'll play for this salary. He's going to have to play for less. I would love to have him up in Green Bay. That, to me, that makes perfect sense. And yes, Rodgers would absolutely come back from Hawaii if he had Julio Jones and Donald Driver, because Charlie, it's been a couple of years, and you know this as a part owner of the Packers, that Aaron has really not had a second wide receiver that takes pressure off of number one. It's been Donald Driver. They've been pretty darn good together, but could you imagine who are you going to double team on that one?
Hey, Julio Jones to the Packers is what I'm screaming. And if they pull that deal off, the GM can call up Aaron Rodgers and say, "How you like me now?
Yeah,
come on back, man." Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think for Julio, he's going to have to give in a little bit. If he's going to, you can't sit there and say, "I want to play for a winner, but I'm not going to give up my salary." Well, guess what? The winners aren't going to be able to afford you, maybe, Julio. So, you got to work with them. If you truly want to win, then you got to show that you truly want to win.
And especially at 31, coming off an injury.
Yeah. I mean, I still say he's got 2 or 3 years left. I mean,
too,
because he's such a great route runner. I mean, he doesn't have to be the speedster. He's tall. He has great body position. Man, I tell you what, if the Panthers receiving core wasn't as solid as it was, I'd be like pushing for Carolina to go that route. As Ian Castleberry plays with the Wise Guys, talking NFL Gold Nuggets on this Thursday afternoon. All right, speaking of Aaron, where would you rather be, at Packers OTA or Hawaii with my fiance? For Aaron Rodgers, it's definitely the latter. You saw the picture, Ian, of he and his fiance and another couple hanging out at some waterfalls. I'm not sure if that was on the Big Island or not. But Ian, it made me wonder if Aaron is maybe trolling the Packers with that photo.
I think he absolutely is. While you guys are having OTAs, I'm out in Hawaii cavorting with my fiance. I mean, he's been pretty public. He's not hiding. He was on SportsCenter the other night for Kenny Mayne's last show. I don't know if you guys saw that. So he's very much being public about the fact that he's enjoying his off season and not reporting to these mini camps. The Packers are moving ahead. I mean, I know a couple of weeks ago we talked about the fact that they signed, was it Blake Bortles that they signed?
Yeah.
Which I know some people said, that shows that they're not buying into Jordan Love being the starter. But I also think the Packers faced a very real situation that if Aaron Rodgers didn't show up to minicamp, if he doesn't show up to training camp in July, they need quarterbacks. So they're going to bring in a couple guys at least, just so they have guys who can run reps in training camp.
Yeah, Ian, the two things NFL teams do this time of year is bring in camp arms, people that can throw to receivers in camp. Another thing is bring people in, let them learn the system, then cut them. But if you need them during the year, you sign them and they already know the system.
Yeah, great point.
And here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. Once again, here we go. This is kind of funny to see this, but it plays with the pattern of Aaron, and that is being passive aggressive. Just come out and say it, Aaron. I mean, don't send these pics and do the trolling. You know who trolls? Losers. Sorry, losers troll. I get tired of this. Just come out and say it. I want out. I want out. I'm not coming back to Green Bay. Don't leave Packers fans wondering, well, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? What does this picture mean? Aaron's just got to come out and say it and just be a man about it and quit beating around the bush and going on, ESPN Sports Center for Kenny Mayne's last show or sending a pic from Hawaii. Just stop it. It's just getting to be to the point where I'm over Aaron Rodgers when it comes to this. Just say what's on your mind. Be upfront about it. And let the chips fall where they may. He drives me nuts on that for sure. And Ian, by the way, we should point out the NFL has upped the salary cap now. The ceiling is $208 million. Good Lord. Can you believe that, man?
Especially after last season with
right.
teams not being able to have fans in the stadiums. But there's a TV contract coming up, a new rights agreement with all the networks. Amazon's going to be the exclusive streamer of Thursday Night Football. The money just keeps rolling in for the NFL, and it's going to help teams. The reason the Falcons are trying to trade Julio Jones is because they need the salary cap room. Obviously, even with a higher cap, that's still going to be a problem for the Falcons. They need to trade Julio Jones to clear room to sign other players, including their rookie class. But what appeared to be a problem looming for the NFL in terms of having a lower salary cap, well, that just went out the window.
No,
everybody talk about salary cap going down. Holy cow!
Yeah, and nothing goes down in the NFL these days.
It's a machine that makes money.
Yes, everything's
money.
Everything is ascending when it comes to the NFL. Ian, always appreciate your time, and hey, be sure to check out Sons of Sam when you get a chance on Netflix. It doesn't go near as deep as the book does, but it's a pretty good testimony of bringing the case of the Son of Sam case, which I think a lot of folks remember, and if you don't, it's still one of the all-time, I think, great cases and one of the most well-known cases in the history, certainly of New York City. But it is a really interesting four-parter, buddy. So if you got some time, check it out.
Yeah, I appreciate the suggestion. I will definitely check that out. Thanks.
Sure thing. And what are you watching now? Like the mayor? What is it? The mayor of?
Mayor of Easttown. Yeah, I'm into that on HBO, on Netflix. I'm catching up on. It's called Kim's Convenience. I don't know if it's a Canadian sitcom that takes place in this Korean convenience store. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I've
been enjoying that. Just like quick half-hour laughs before going to bed each night.
Yeah, okay, we all need that before going to bed each night. For sure. Yeah, matter of fact, Mayor of Easttown, I was telling Kathleen, because she loves it, I said, I think Ian's a fan too. You align far more with her than you do with me. I mean, you and I are like the Marvel Universe guys. But, when it comes to the deeper stuff that Ian's into, that's where Kathleen likes. She's like, yeah, I jive more with Ian than you on that. I'm like, thanks, honey. I jive with Ian too.
Oh, man. I wish I'd known. Kathleen and I could have, for the past 6 weeks been trying to talk about who killed Aaron McMenamin. But, maybe next time.
For sure. No doubt, my man. Always appreciate your time. You know that, Ian. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. We're off on Monday, so we'll catch up for more NFL Gold Nuggets on Thursday.
All right. Enjoy your holiday weekend as well.
Thanks,
Great
buddy.
To you, Charlie.
Good. Take care, Ian.
Thank you, Ian. One of the good ones right there. Ian Castleberry, who, by the way, writes for awfulannouncing.com, also thecomeback.com. You can like both on Facebook as well. Does a number of radio hits as well around the country. And we're his hometown station. So how about that?
He's an informed joker now.
Oh, big time.
He knows what he's talking about football and baseball.
He's a journalist. I mean, he's a journalist. I mean, that's what he studied. And he's a really talented writer. We're lucky to have him for sure. And Ian's appearance presented by DC Creasman Jewelers.